Hi there everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to hook up this very versatile corner to corner, or better known as C2C stitch. It's an ideal stitch to hook up those baby blankets in, maybe washcloths, cushion covers. You can make this whatever size you like. It is literally, as you can see if I just hold it apart, made up with these blocks. If you can see that there, these blocks are made up of UK trebles, that's US doubles, and you do as the name suggests. You start in one corner here. So this is going to be row 1, and each row goes like so on a diagonal. Just like this, you get to the size that you require, and then you simply just decrease until you get to the other corner. So in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to just do the simple stitch itself, so like this swatch. In my next tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to add a simple border. So I've worked up my example of the C2C, then I've done a simple border to start with, which is made up of 2 rounds, and then I've added this lovely frilly effect right around that edge. So this is going to be in our part 2, but for today's tutorial I'm just going to be showing you this basic stitch. In this tutorial I'm going to be using this lovely baby DK weight yarn. If you can see, it has a lovely sparkle going through it. This is actually from Knitcraft. It's Baby Brilliance. As I say, it's a DK weight yarn. It is 75% acrylic, 20% polyamide and 5% polyester. And for this yarn I'm going to be using my favourite Clover Moore hook. It's a 4mm or G hook. You're also going to need a darning needle for those ends and a small pair of scissors. Now we're going to start by putting a slip knot on our hook. You can obviously do this however you normally do. This is how I do mine. So I just wrap my yarn around those fingers. I pull the yarn across. I go under with my hook, grab that yarn, pull it through, take my fingers out, and we are attached. So I'm just going to tighten that up. And here we go. So for row 1, we're going to start by chaining 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what we're going to do is we're going to work in UK trebles, that's US doubles, and we're going to work in the 4th chain from our hook. So we have 1, 2, 3. This is the chain, the 4th one, that we're going to work into. So we're going to put our first UK treble. So just as a recap, that's yarn over first. Push through that chain, grab the yarn, pull it through. So we have 1, 2, 3 loops on our hook. Grab the yarn, pull through 2, grab the yarn, pull through 2. So we'll have another 1, 2 chains here. So we're going to put another further 2 trebles. So treble in this chain. So let's grab the yarn, pull through 2, grab the yarn and pull through 2. Then in this final chain we're going to do the same. So it's another treble. Okay, so it's grab the yarn, pull through 2, grab the yarn, pull through 2. I'm just going to tighten that up there. And there you go, we have row 1. So you should have something that looks like this little block here. You will have, if you can see, 1, 2, 3 trebles and then on the end we have this little loop, which was our other chain 3. And if I show you on my little swatch here, we have started, so this is row 1, and as I said before, our rows will go diagonally. So now we need to do row 2. So now we're going to start row 2. Before we do that, we're just going to flip our work, and then as we start each row, as we increase, we're going to start with a chain of 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And again, what we're going to do is count back to the 4th chain. So 1, 2, 3, this chain here. We're going to put in our UK treble. So that's pull through, pull through. In this next chain here, we're going to put another treble. Pull through, pull through. Then we're going to have another chain here. We're going to put another treble. So this is how we start each row whilst we're on the increase. Now what we want to do is join these blocks together. So if you remember, I showed you this little loop here from the row before, which was made up of that original chain 3. It forms this lovely little loop here. So what we're going to do is just slip stitch into that loop. So it's just push the hook through, grab that yarn and pull it through the loop that's on your hook. And we have joined our blocks. Now we're going to do a chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. In that same loop where we did our slip stitch, we're going to put in 3 trebles. So that's 1, 2 and 3. So after row 2, you should have something that looks like an L just here. So here we go with row 3. What we're going to do again is flip our work first. Again, we're going to start with a chain of 6, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And again, we're going to identify 1, 2, 3, that 4th chain just here. We're going to put in the first of 3 UK trebles. So that's 1. In the next chain, we're going to put our 2nd treble. And in the 3rd chain, we're going to put our 3rd UK treble. And again, we need to join these blocks. So as you can see from the row before, you have this lovely chain which forms a loop. We're going to slip stitch into that space. So again, is pull the yarn through and the one that's on your hook. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. And then in this space, formed by that chain from the row before, we're going to put a further 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. Again, we want to join our blocks. So if you see here, you look up, you identify where that chain 3 space is from the row before, and we just slip stitch. Then we're going to do a chain 3, 3, and in that space we're going to do another 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. So as you can see, after row 3 we have increased along each side, and this is how you work up until you get to the width that you require. So I'm going to show you another row, and this is how you're going to do each of your rows from now on. So again, with row 4 we're going to flip our work. We're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you've guessed it, in that 1, 2, 3, fourth chain down, we're going to put in our first treble. In that next chain, another treble. And in that next chain, another treble. Again, we want to join these blocks. So identify that chain 3 space from the row before and do our slip stitch. Then we're going to chain 3, 2 and 3. In that same space we're going to put 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. Again, we're joining to this block here. Find that chain 3 space and do your slip stitch. Then we're going to chain 3 up, 2 and 3. In that space again, we're going to put another 3 trebles. Now here's a little tip. If you get to the end and this bit's sticking up, I tend to hold it down with my other fingers because otherwise it tends to get a little bit caught up, so you can find that a little frustrating. I just tend to fold it over and hold it down until I'm ready to join. So again, find that chain 3 space, do your slip stitch. Then you've guessed it, it's chain 3 up, and then we're going to put another 3 trebles. 2, oh, I'm running out of yarn, and 3. So here you can see after row 4 we have increased widthwise and length up as well. What you're going to do is just repeat the rows that I've shown you until you get to the length or width that you require. For this tutorial, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out 10 rows. So all you do is count your blocks out and they should match the blocks up as well. I'm going to go for 10 blocks out and then I'm going to show you how we decrease. So I've completed my 10th row, I've made my last block of that row, and again just to double check I can count down those blocks. So I've counted down 10 and across at the bottom I have 10 blocks, so I know I've completed 10 rows. Now I want to form this into a square, so we need to decrease now at each end. So how I do that? So again for row 11 we're going to turn our work. Instead of doing our chain 6 up, which we would do if we wanted to carry on increasing, we're going to do a row of slip stitch across just this block here. Now where we're going to do our slip stitches, we're going to slip stitch inside in the spaces between the trebles and this chain 3 here. So if I just pull that sort of block apart, those stitches, you'll see we have 1, 2, 3 spaces. So what I'm going to do in this first space here between these 2 stitches, I'm going to do a slip stitch. So that's just pull the yarn through and the one that's on your hook. Now you want to keep these slip stitches quite nice and loose, otherwise your work on one side is going to look a little bit tighter. So we're going to find that next space between those trebles from the row before, another slip stitch. Okay, so pull the yarn through and the one that's on your hook, and then finally in that chain 3 space we're going to put another slip stitch. So keeping that nice and loose. There we go, we're starting to decrease along this side. Then we're going to carry on with our row 11 as we did before, making those blocks. So we're going to chain 3. Okay, and then in this chain 3 space, we're going to put in our 3 trebles. That's 1, 2, and 3. Again, we want to join our blocks. So in that chain 3 space, we're going to slip stitch. We're going to work another block as normal. Chain 3. Put in our 3 trebles. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to join. So as you can see, we started our decrease on this side, so we're going to want to do the same up here. So I'm just going to work along this row as normal, and then I'm going to stop before I put in my final block. So I'm just putting in my final block, 2 and 3. Now if you were increasing, as you can remember, what we'd do is we'd slip stitch here to join, and then we'd put another block up here, but now we're on the increase. So we're just going to find that space made by the chain 3. We're going to slip stitch to join, and then we're going to call that row 11 finished. Then what we need to do is just turn our work, and then we're going to do the slip stitches again across this block here. So I'm just pulling those stitches apart. You should have 1 space, 2 space, and then that chain 3 space. So I'm just going to slip stitch 1, slip stitch 2, just keeping these nice and loose, and slip stitch 3. Okay, and then we're going to start again. So we do our chain 3, and then we're going to work this block as normal. And 3. Then we're joining. And that's how we're going to continue. So I'm going to carry along this row. I'm going to show you one more time what we do when we get here. But as you can see, we are now decreasing at both ends. So again, I'm putting my final block in. Now once you start to decrease, you will notice that your work just decreases a lot quicker. So people do like this. Once you've got halfway, you know that the second half is going to get quicker and quicker because you have less blocks to work with. So again, I've done my final block. I'm just going to slip stitch to join. I don't want to increase, so I'm just going to flip my work. And I'm going to find those 1, 2, 3 spaces to pop in my slip stitches. 2 and 3 Okay, so we're just going to keep working those blocks as usual. We're going to remember at the end of the row, we're just going to slip stitch, turn and then decrease. So your work should now form the point of the other corner, and I will just show you how we finish off. So as you can see, I've decreased all the way along. Now just a note, we increased to 10 rows, you actually decrease 1 row less. So when I finish, I will have decreased 9 rows. So this is how we finish off. We put our final block in. So I'm going to put in my 3 trebles. And as you've just realised, if you followed along, you do, as I say, decrease. It happens nice and quick. And then what we're going to do to finish, as we've been doing before, find that chain 3 space, just slip stitch to join. Then to fasten off, I'm going to chain 1 up. I'm going to find my scissors, which I'd hidden. Cut my ends there and just pull through and just cinch that knot down as much as you can, and then all I need to do is to weave in those ends, and you do that just using your darning needle. So I tend to weave in my ends on the back, just taking that needle through and using the backs of those stitches. This will soon get lost. Just pull that a little bit tight so it doesn't show. On the front, saying that, there's not really a front and a back to this stitch. And then I just use the backs of those stitches to go to and fro 2 or 3 times. And then when you're happy that that's nice and secure, you're just going to take your scissors again and snip off your ends. So there you have it, the lovely corner to corner or C2C stitch, and I think you'll agree once you get going, this is a lovely stitch to learn. It does look especially nice if you use a nice colour change yarn, and what I will do is pop a picture at the end of this video of a blanket that I did a nice sort of rainbow colour change yarn. You don't have to worry about changing colours and all those ends to sew in. But as I say, in my next video, I'm going to be showing you how to add this lovely frilly border. So do make sure that you click that notification bell. If you're watching this in a couple of weeks' time, I will have uploaded that video and I will pop a link to that in that description box below. But do please have a go. Let me know how you get on, and I will see you here next time. Bye bye for now.